QuaranJazz. Listen while you're home. Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of QuaranJazz, your weekly update on what's happening on the jazz scene, a home-to-home talk with jazz musicians from all over the world, talking about their influences, their projects, their new routines during lockdown, and of course, future plans. I'm Geisa Fernandes, jazz singer-songwriter and music researcher from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. You can find more about me and my projects by visiting my webpage, geisafernandes.com. The link will be in the description of this episode. And if you are a jazz musician and you would like to take part in QuaranJazz, talking about your experiences during these peculiar days, drop me a line. You can also find me in Facebook. I manage a group called the Touring Jazz Musician. We talk about jazz festivals that accept submissions directly from artists. The group is named after my guide, the Touring Jazz Musician, a guide to jazz festivals worldwide. If you'd like to know more about jazz festivals worldwide and updates on cancellations, postponement, join us on Facebook, the Touring Jazz Musician. This week's guest is Swiss-Italian-based piano jazzman Lorenzo de Finti. Lorenzo is based in a severely affected area of Italy, and he had a very busy schedule before the corona crisis exploded. While despite the hard circumstances, he's proved to be a very resourceful musician and managed to skill some tools that allow him to keep the contact to his audience. But first things first. Hi Lorenzo, thank you very much for your participation, and I think we can start with you telling us something about your influences and, well, basically your story.
Hi, first of all, my name is Lorenzo de Finti. I'm a piano player. I'm a Swiss piano player because I was born in the small town in the southern part of Switzerland, very close to the border with Italy. I live in Milan, Italy, and I've been living there since I was a little kid. Now I live there with my wife and our 3 kids, 10, 7, and 2 years old. I've been starting playing the piano when I was 8 years old because my father used to be a jazz piano player, not in a professional way, but he was quite good. I mean, he still is, indeed. And so I decided to start playing piano, and I followed the classical traditional approach, which I liked a lot because I ended up to be in the piano course in the Conservatorio Giuseppe Verdi of Milan, and I graduated there after the course of 12 years. Since I was 14 years old, I started falling in love with jazz, even if the process wasn't very fast. It took a long time for me, even for a very young boy, to understand that jazz was very interesting to me. My first musical love were the Beatles. I really, totally, absolutely fell in love with them, with their music, and especially with their approach to music and to composition, the continuous curiosity that was part of the way they worked to their compositions or to the solution they were looking for in the studio process. So I think the Beatles is the first landmark in my musical path. A few years later, I discovered the great pianist of the second part of last century. I discovered Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, Keith Jarrett, very different piano players. What I love in Chick Corea is the different atmosphere he can create and the kind of magical way he used harmonies, and also the use of electronic instrument, especially the electric piano, Fender Rhodes. The turning point was discovering my song, the ECM album by Keith Jarrett with younger Barek, Palle Danielsson, and Jan Christensen, which was one of the first moment of meeting between European jazz and American jazz. I mean, by the time European jazz was just trying to create its own personality, and that was definitely a milestone in this process. So, meanwhile, I was studying the Conservatorio. I started some jazz group, some jazz band, and I started my first concerts in Milan, in the jazz clubs. There were many jazz clubs in Milan by the time, not like now. And those concerts took place when I was 16 years old, and everything started there in some way. And then came European jazz to me, and the other very important musical meeting I had was with Esbjörn Svensson. Esbjörn, as you may know, was a fantastic piano player from Sweden. He mixed jazz atmospheres with rock, sometimes heavy, hard rock atmospheres, and definitely created something magic and something new, which is very, very complicated nowadays. Esbjörn unfortunately passed away in a scuba diving accident in 2008. That was another meeting that definitely changed my approach to music and to piano.
I simply loved the Beatles reference. I'm also a huge fan myself. So, Lorenzo, at the start I said that you had a very busy schedule for the beginning of 2020. And now you have to face, a different routine. So, can you tell us how's the situation in your region, in Milan, and which were your plans when the crisis exploded?
As I said before, I live in Milan, Italy. Milan is a very big town, a big city. Milan itself and small towns around the city count around 3 million people. It's a big city, frenetic city. It's one of the economical most important center in Europe, probably in the world. And it's a very chaotic town. But me and my family, we had the chance to move somewhere else in a more relaxing town, smaller, with less traffic. But in the end, we decided to stay there for many, many reasons. Milan, and especially the area close to Milan, has been dramatically hit by the coronavirus crisis. Milan itself is still keeping up, but the area close to Milan, I'm thinking about Bergamo, which is like 40 kilometers east from Milan, is one of the most affected in the whole world, and there are many people dying, and the hospitals are collapsing, and everything is locked down now. It's impossible to leave the house unless you have very specific and important reason defined by government law. And you need to carry with you, if you go to the pharmacy or the grocery store, which are basically the only place you can go, now you need to carry with you a document in which you explain why you are leaving your house, and police or the army can stop you, and you need to explain and show the document. And if they find out it's not true what you wrote in the document, you are in big, big, big trouble. But anyway, it would be very, very stupid now to go outside as nothing is happening. First, you cannot do it, and if you can do it, it's very... If you find a way to do it, it will be very, very, very stupid. But anyway, the world of music and of culture in general has been strongly hit by this crisis. I had 12 concerts in Milan in the month of March, concert that I mean myself and some friends of mine, musicians, Milan-based like me, 12 concerts in the schools, explaining the history of music, the history of jazz or rock or kind of, concert lesson with a quartet. They were canceled, of course. And the main project I'm involved right now is my quartet, Lorenzo de Finti Quartet. We've been touring everywhere in Europe during the last year. We made 40 to 50, I don't know exactly, concerts around Europe with our latest release, Love Unknown. The tour was almost finished. We had 10 concerts left, but everything was cancelled. So far, the next concert I can see far away, it's in July in Lithuania, Nida Jazz Festival, but I'm not very optimistic about it. And then we have 3 concerts in Norway in September. I don't know, maybe we can make it. And we have a tour in Canada on the end of October. Who knows? Maybe we will be able to attend those concerts. But now I think it's too soon to be sure about it. And now the most important thing is to stay safe and save our lives and the lives of the people we care, especially elderly people like my parents.
Yes, you're right. It's definitely the time to settle priorities and stick to them. And our priorities, they have changed a lot, I think, since the start of the situation. Anyway, Lorenzo, I would like you to talk a little bit about your routine during those days, during the time of the social distancing. I know you have a quite busy one, and nevertheless, you've found your own way to keep in contact with your audience. That is amazing. And you became a kind of savvy musician, a tech hero for a lot of musicians like me. Now, just a short note to the listeners. Me and Lorenzo, we are members of the same group on Facebook. It's an amazing group called the Jazzsphere Community, managed by Matt Ripp. And we were all, wow, how does Lorenzo do this? This broadcast with the live transmission mixed with the pre-recorded videos. Anyway, he was gentle enough to send us the tutorial. I still haven't learned it, but it's on my to-do list. So coming back to your activities, I would like you now to talk a little bit more about your routine, how you were dealing with this new normal. What's now a regular day for you?
My activities in those weird days are actually I'm talking about me and my wife, are very, very busy days because we have 3 kids, as I told you before, 10, 7, and 2 years old. And they don't go to school, they're at home with us, and this is very hard to them. I think much harder than it is for us, adult people. So basically, we try to give an order to our days. We try to, we play with kids until 10, then school, quote, school starts. So Thomas, 10 years old, and Ginny, they try to do their homework, and another one of us has to take care of Nicholas, which is 2 years old and has no homeworks to do. Sometimes there's online lessons from schools for the kids, and this is what we do for the main part of the day. In the meantime, I, of course, try to go on with my work organization. So I managed to have live streaming sessions on my Facebook page. I use a software which I didn't even know existed, OBS, Open Broadcast Software Studio. And I started it, and I became able to use it, and I'm programming some live session. I started a couple of days ago, and now I'm going on with them. I called it Quarantine Love Unknown Tour, because we just had European tour with Love Unknown, our latest album, and this is the Love Unknown Quarantine Tour. And I put a picture on the header of my Facebook page with 4 people working in the desert with right distances between each other. And I cannot play live because my piano is in my studio and I cannot go there right now. So here in my house I have a vertical piano, which is a piano for my kids actually, and it's not very tuned. It's impossible for me to use it for a live streaming. So I just chat a little while with my audience, and then I broadcast during the live session, which is possible to do with OBS software, some videos of our European tour. Thank God I have a lot of videos with good audio quality, so I can do it, and I found out that it works very well. Another thing I'm doing with the live streaming session is I connect with Skype with a musician friend of mine or different musicians or who would like to do it with me, and we had a chat to each other during the session, and then we show some videos or listen to some music of the musician involved or mine. Then I'm try to finish the composition process of the new songs of the new album of my quartet. I write the songs and then send it to the bass player of my quartet, Stefano Dall'Ora. Then he works on the song too, and then the song is ready. This is our way of working. We used it for the 2 albums we published so far, and we want to go on like this. And we can do this also in this weird situation. And of course I practice piano, even if the piano I have at home, as I said before, is not very good, but it's good enough to practice technique and be ready for the moment when all this madness will be over to start again.
Wow, that sounds like a very busy day. And you know what, Lorenzo? One of the things I like most about this podcast is having the opportunity of listening to stories like yours. And I can't help thinking that these rehearsals at home, they will have a big impact on your children, a very positive one. And I hope they will make the memories of those days a little bit lighter, or at least with a great soundtrack. Talking of which, tell us a little bit more about the track we are going to listen.
The song I chose for this broadcast is The Vortex of the Angel, taken from our latest album, Love Unknown. This is a song that we used as a first single for our album release last year, and we decided to shoot the video with this song. So we went in the studio in Milan, in the Hub studio. They have a Steinway grand piano, which is necessary for me, at least for recording. And with a very important Italian filmmaker, which is a friend of mine. He usually is specialized in the fashion shows, but it's very good also for music videos, Francesco Licata. And we had a live session. It was a weird day because we recorded the audio and video at the same time, no playback in the morning. And then there was a concert of Chick Corea in Lugano, Switzerland, but very close to Milan. And as I also work very part-time with the Swiss radio, with National Radio Network, I had to follow for the radio the concert of Chick Corea and interview him. So that was a very cool day, everything in one day. Going back to the video, we were very happy for the result, and we start pitching gigs around the world, with especially Europe, with this video. And it's not easy to have immediate answers when you pitching emails to promoters around the world, but we have 6 concerts confirmed after the first email, thanks to the video. So we were very happy, and the video did quite well, as we're talking about the jazz video, of course, as a visualization on YouTube. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. The song is based on the piano ostinato, very frenetic, like a vortex, as the title say, with a slow trumpet melody ahead. And then suddenly everything changes, everything stops, and there are just 3 chords of piano going one after the other, triads, C major, A flat major, F major. And on this very, very slow riff, which of course grows gradually, going back to the drums groove of the beginning. There's a acoustic bass solo with the bow and with the distortion on the sound. Of course, this is not new because this was one of the trademark of Esbjörn Svensson trio. But far away from us, the idea of copying them, we simply like the idea to give this rock pulsion to the song. And especially our bass player, Stefano Dall'Ora, is one of the best bass player around. His sound is amazing, it's fantastic. I think this is why we opted for this solution. And there's a piano solo in a section totally different than the other ones. And then the song starts again, going to the end. A particular thing on the ending of the song, we didn't know exactly how to finish it. And so we tried many solutions, but we didn't find the right one. So we recall the ending of a Beatles song on the album Abbey Road, I Want You, She's So Heavy. It's a John Lennon song. When the Beatles started repeating the guitar riff in the end of the song, like for 15 minutes, and in the session they went on for 30 minutes. But the thing is, the tape ended before, so the song was suddenly cut. And the sound engineer told the Beatles, well, we have to do it again because the tape ended. And they say, let us listen to it. And they like it. They like the effect of the sudden death of the song. And so they published the song like this. Go and check it out because it's amazing. It's the last song of the first side of Abbey Road if you have the vinyl. So we decided, why don't we do like the Beatles? And we decided to cut the song suddenly in the middle of a trumpet solo. And the effect was that good that many reviewers or journalists wrote, well, the album is very good, but there must have been a mistake in the mastering process because the first song ends suddenly. So that's very funny, and it's a joke we always tell this story like a joke during our concert. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for this opportunity, and stay safe in this, pretty dark moment. And I'm sure I don't know if it's going to be long, it's going to be short, but for sure this is going to end and we will start again to play our music. Me, you, and everyone who loves music. Everywhere in the world. So thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you guys very soon.
Awesome. Let's check it out. Well, Lorenzo, thank you very much for your participation, for taking your time in the middle of this busy routine, 3 children, taking time for sharing your stories. Really, it was very, very kind of you. And thank you, dear listener, for your company. As you know, QuaranJazz comes once a week with the updates of what's going on in the world of jazz, in the words of musicians from all over the world. I'm Geisa Fernandes, Brazilian jazz singer, songwriter, and music researcher. If you'd like to know more about my work, visit my webpage, geisafernandes.com. The link will be in the description of this episode. You can also find me on Facebook. Join the group The Touring Jazz Musician, named after a guide I wrote on jazz festivals that accept submissions directly from musicians. Got interested? Find us on Facebook and join the discussion. The Touring Jazz Musician. Thanks again for listening. And now, ladies and gents, The Vortex of the Angel. QuaranJazz. Listen while you're home. QuaranJazz, a podcast by Geisa Fernandes.